meritocracy of madness. The lunatic is on the grass, remembering games and daisy chains and laughs. Brain damage, Pink Floyd. Madness. Definition. The state of having an extreme mental illness, extremely foolish behaviour, a state of wild or chaotic activity. This is me. I met that man there in the summer. He told me his name was Riegan. It took me a while to realise that his real name was Ryan.
Ground floor. Door opening.
First impression, first insights into things. You have to be sort of be like, what do I do? So
Exactly, hesitation.
I think wisdom you do natural sort of could be to yourself.
Like an recruitment.
To know yourself.
Yeah, you develop it, don't you? Know yourself better.
I'm willing to do ideas, are you?
Me and Riegan both suffer from mental health, labelled in the schizotypal framework of dysfunction. I'm not entirely sure what I want to do with this film, but shed light onto the phenomenon that we are. How much do we suffer? How much do we know? What exactly is wrong with us? I am willing to be annihilated, but like, I didn't start off like that.
Yeah.
I'll be honest. So, gathered here
We gathered here today to commemorate the Riegan film.
Madness is insane, which is rather crazy when you think about it. It's probably best not to think about it for too long anyway. It may well cause some unpleasantness, but as I'm writing this, I kind of have to think about it directly. I want to talk about madness and what it is to me and why we treat it so. Most people would probably advise you not to think about it. Most people would probably rather you didn't talk about madness. This being in the general economy of conversation, insanity is a net loss for the society of the polite. I'm not them. So let's talk about how an individual's thoughts can become a carousel of madness, about hallucinations and delusions laid bare, and also, hopefully, to rest. My good friend once, as a child, asked his grandfather, "How do you deal with getting old, with life?" I remember his reported response, "Well, I just don't think about it," he said.
Yeah.
Where would you begin
Yeah,
where you think about madness?
To more wealth, you know.
Self is presented to mark wealth, you say.
This is all about wealth. Drinking cans on a bench, it's obviously all about wealth.
It's a movement. It's
With
like
bling bling.
relaxation, isn't it? But like, the wealth of like, if I do in my life, I've never been without some form of wealth. So I don't know, I've got a lot of thanks to gratitude to give. Like,
Many thanks.
Wealthy wealth.
it's not about protectment of your wealth. You know.
Well, you can have different kinds of wealth, can't we all?
You have
Generally.
money, you have many things, you
You
have
have spiritual
friends, you have many things, but like,
wealth. Just happy guy.
it's not always money, like the big
Yeah,
wealth.
exactly.
We've got friendship.
No man is a failure who has friends. Visible illnesses have the overwhelming capacity and power to become all too visible, all too quickly. However, madness has been the subject to reason for centuries and the capacity of division for longer still. So before you go insane, Let me offer you my own rough ideas, my speculations on and voyage into the mists of insanity, neatly pocketed inside an isolation room with my own bespoke honesty and extensive dealings with the fifth dimensional dog, psychosis.
What does a Rieganist believe in?
In Riegan above all things, I think he is an example. Like, he's a way to live. He doesn't have much impact, like, in the world. I think that's a beautiful example in this day and age where everyone's so obsessed with impact. It's a simple life. I think he's a simple man, but worthy of our adoration. I love Riegan. A personal preface. I have had dealings, exchanges and episodes of poor mental health for a long time. I'm not altogether sure why. In earnest, I have always been somewhat odd. Psychosis is my demon in residence. I think I have some genetic predisposition and a lot of control over how that predisposition played out. Depression came just before puberty. Anxiety blossomed at the dawn of young adulthood. Firstly, and chiefly, it is my belief that mental health always arises ultimately from within, that you are the source of your feelings. So often our mental health is shaped by others as a response. However, ownership of how you feel being more about you, to me, is vital. So what does a Rieganist believe?
A Rieganist believes that Lord Riegan embodies the essence and is the entire being of the Logos, or the Four. We believe that he has come to us in the distant future of the world to enlighten us with his unique wisdom and his singular experiential consciousness, which is more or less the very thing that transforms the world into number and meaning.
Okay.
I know.
What if you could sum up the teachings of Riegan into like one epigram or one little slice of knowledge, one bundle for our audience at home to take away with them? What would you say that bundle is?
Well, I think the very essence of Riegan is its essential indescribability. It's that ineffable, indescribable, transcendent thing that transcends the mere symbol or an image of himself or the Four. The Four is that which cannot be described and which is beyond being of value or being invaluable. It is the thing of things. It is the thing. It's Riegan. Riegan cannot be taught. Riegan cannot be described. Riegan can only be experienced. Riegan is pure experience, pure form, pure shouting, pure shouts of the ecstasy and the tangy, musky odor of experience. He smells like coconuts. It's canon. I just thought I'd put that out there in case the audience don't know. We don't have smell-o-vision.
Of course, the self exists.
Is it true that
and
Riegan's
it is
real
within
name?
that world where problems are most of them tend to arise. A failure to fit in with the world is a short and abrupt passage on the definition of insanity, not a definition to my personal liking. From my own understanding, psychosis arises after dealings in anxiety and depression, mania and mood disorders also. There is of course drug-induced psychosis, which I am determined to have experienced each time I have been hospitalised. I've been hospitalised now 6 times.
Experimental shit, isn't it? Kind of, it's not really just fucking full of lads on it. I'm going to the park.
We have to read what?
You have to. I feel like that.
Professional for a bit.
I think she can. Well, there's always really bumps in the road, so it's always different when everyone wants to see what we're doing, and it's going to be totally different now.
So, again, what do you think about the war in Ukraine?
Good.
You're unhappy about it? Unhappy about it. Like, naturally, as any sound man should be, discontent with conflict.
What's the purpose of that? What's the purpose of invading Ukraine?
What's the purpose of invading Ukraine? Well, I guess, like, Russia's security interests, right?
Security interests.
Security interests,
I
yes.
hold Ukraine somewhere in the heart of things.
She was shot. He's kind of got a heart on sometimes. It's a bit like a martyr.
I know.
So,
Yeah, so they were like, oh yeah, we're going to win whole game.
wars in that land, it's a very poor society, wars in that land. Wars are things really dominate the scheme of things.
Yeah, I've heard also said that it's like way at the top of things as well. It's like humanity and it's kind of
Depends where you are.
peak of something as well.
Like Oswald Spengler, like once said, I think, like the state is made for war. Like war is like the truest, like refined purpose. Like a state exists for nothing but war.
It sounds a little bit like warmongering.
Of course, it's warmongering. I mean, it's like German idealist philosophy, but that's what we said. At least it's in the proper resolution now, so we shoot for hours and hours, and days and days.
Not days and days.
Like for days is kind of metaphorical, but days not. Did I stick those in there?
Something focus on road films.
Nice.
It's not saying it, sure, but it's sticks.
Stoicism, my opinion.
Stoicism.
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 That shouldn't be
Stoicism.
Stoicism. We babies, right there, for the species.
Right. Of course, we're like totally against nuking babies.
What?
We're against nuking babies and stuff like that. Like no problem.
Species.
Ah, new babies. New babies.
But what we want, we don't want war. Like the hippies now, want peace.
I don't think it's organized powers.
Can you remember your poem, man?
It was like
My poem.
Yes, it starts with deserts and it's got the
Fighting in the deserts of hell, see the forces impel, death, destruction. To the mist we see the fear and the actions we get. Peace is what we need, power of what we need. The skies of the devil, we see men become like revel. Men should not die, because we souls die. Peace is what we need, power of what we need.
nice.
powerful stuff.
Thank you. I believe you wrote that when you were like 16 or something?
I was still at college. It's just that I haven't actually, when I think about it, I haven't really poetry. It's like, so it's like rap, it's like a bit like a political rap. I haven't really but that was one of the pieces for like college.
So madness has spoke, and it makes no sense. We make little sense, but what sense can we wrench from it? The first myth to dispel, as earlier referenced, is the pernicious myth that mentally unwell people are not all there. To tackle this on two fronts. Firstly, one interpretation of this designation denies the simple allowance that anyone at any time can think of anywhere or anywhen else. Niagara Falls, for example, 1950. Picture it in your head. Are you now not all here? Secondly, Perhaps the accuser thinks the accused a few sandwiches short of a picnic. That this is the more astute meaning of their designation to the accused is not all there. The idea that mentally unwell people lack anything but good mental health is untrue and demeaning. Brains generally are quite homogeneous. It is exceedingly rare that they lack structures or cortexes. Chemicals vary more and are now often identified as the antagonizers as the characters in the drama of sanity.
Theism is an important stage of development, or
I think it's one of the important stage of theorics.
it's an important stage of development in the historical evolution of I guess like human knowledge, or human sense of connection with the universe. Like initially you had like kind of chaotic, like very primitive explanations, like in the very early days of human culture of like why does this happen? Like well, there's a bunch of like weird forces like with like human personalities that determine things, and like through stuff like like sacrifice and like kind of like siphoning off like resources off to like priests and stuff, like maybe there'll be a good harvest, like that kind of thing, to like kind of like actually no, there's kind of this like one universal substance. It's kind of like real, like unreal, and
you don't like monotheisms, but you like a monologue.
Yeah, I do, but you
do like monotheisms.
Yeah, but like monism is like something like notably that was independently developed by like all of the like advanced like relatively independent like cultures like in the classical world. Yeah.
Will you get a can on?
Yeah, I think I can. Right, go on.
Very much.
Like China did it very differently, but like China, India, and Europe, like and the Middle East, of course, like all like independently developed this idea that like rather than like the peace of the gods and like sacrifices and like priests like worshipping these chaotic forces and stuff, like there's kind of this one supreme thing. Yeah.
What are you talking about?
It's not getting clear what I'm talking about.
Yeah, to a degree, but
yeah.
does it end in a question or not?
It does not end in a question, no.
Yeah. So is it the James film or the Riegan film?
It's like we're not shooting, like did we
shooting again, I said we're back there, we're shooting again.
We're back. Okay.
Excuse them chairs, I don't know where they come from. I keep reenacting the same thing, chair comes my way.
But I think that like modern science and this idea of things have like a mechanical nature, kind of comes from, or like it develops like pretty well in, or seems to like come after like this point where like human thought like develops to the point where like the universe is seen as just like one substance, or like one kind of like at least like consistent thing.
So they went off, did they?
Like Islamic Christian like monism, there's like a Taoist like a Buddhist monism, there's like a Hindu like kind of like Vaishnavism and like Shaivism with like supreme god music monism. But it all comes with like an explosion in
gods,
or it all comes with like a relative explosion in like the sophistication of human thought. Like think of like science between like the age of like say like Christianity, say like science and like kind of like Babylon, you know. Like it's the philosophy of like the ancient world versus like the philosophy like middle-aged like scholastic Christians, like the people who developed like the first like logic and mathematics, or the first like modern logic and mathematics. And then of course it like goes away and like at the time
of one's mind.
Like it develops from like many to one to not sure how you would describe like how we see the universe now compared to like say like many like chaotic things like they're not like really real, like versus like kind of like one thing. This is kind of like ghost. It's like not really real. It points to a real thing.
We view it as a simulation now. I would argue it's kind of the kind of zeitgeist thought of it, and it used to be like a clock, and it used to be then it was a computer for a while.
Yeah.
And that, and then before that it was like what was before it was a clock even. Fuck knows. It was gods when it really. It was definitely the gods before it was a clock.
Yeah. But you see, like, I know I described it on how it's a connection, like gods, clock, and computer.
You've got to go out of gods and devils, man. You've got to think of higher services, higher things.
Well, what do you mean? I mean, that sounds like an irony. I'm getting two ironies here, Riegan. Firstly, is that like
I'll tell you.
You're the one who brought the gods up, and secondly,
gods were.
Secondly, is that like you're saying you've got to be above? There is nothing above. If you believe in human conception of thought, there is nothing above God in a certain parameter. You know,
There's not
nothing
about God, but where is God? Where is God in comparison? Where is the God and where is the devil? Where is the woman? Where is the man? Which way do you want to go on it?
Can anyone see God? Anyone spotted God recently?
I kind of feel like God is sort of thing like being everywhere. I was all about pixies and fairies and things. It stops the argument. It's like fantasia. Atinia, fantasia. There's so much more to do than concern yourself with like God.
Well, we're here. The uncomfortable picnic of sanity is on a sweatshop blanket, situated on a bubbling crust of radioactive earth. The air is warmer than it should be. The food is in turn in fat and malnourished hands. The other picnics nearby seem strange too. Each group sticks to their own group. The picnic baskets are plastic, disposable, but don't worry. The red and white gingham sweatshop blankets might soon be swallowed up, and you with them. The very earth beneath the blankets moving, the opening jaws of missile silos beneath the ground, warheads erect into the sky. In bottomless metallic free fall might you look up, sky blue, picnic paraphernalia all around you, cascading into blackness. Will you wonder then, were those nearby neighbours a few sandwiches short of a picnic too? A final word. Sometimes I feel like one half of an oxymoron, the universe being the answer to the question no one asked. I'm contradicting myself without having said a word, without having moved a muscle, without thought.